Welcome to chapter 2. I will be teaching you about how I go around drawing the face. So let's get down to the basics. First I always start with an oval. That's like my main reference. Well, it's more of a circle. Start with a circle and then add a triangle, and there you go. That's the basis for your face. The way I construct the rest of the face is using the line from the circle I just drew as guide to where to put the nose in. And as for the eyes, they're separated by one eye distance from the nose and one eye in between them. As for the sides of the face, there's one pupil difference between the eye and the border of the face. The eyebrows, well, there's no real rule to them. It varies with the eyebrow you're drawing, so that's kind of free. The separation between the nose and the mouth is usually one eye as well, and the separation I leave for the mouth and the chin is 1.5 eyes. However, keep in mind this is not an unbreakable rule. This is just how I do it. It's more like an instinct to me, but I've been analyzing my drawings to teach this class, and this is the conclusion I came to. Alright, so of course we're not gonna just stay and keep only the front face, right? I can also teach you how to draw the side of the face. So you want to start with another circle, but this time your triangle is gonna be on the left side or the right side, depends on which side of the face you're drawing. And this triangle connects to roughly the middle of the circle, and this is where you want to put your ear. The nose goes in the middle and the eye goes in between the nose and the ear, like between where they both end or start. Then comes the neck. This is a space you always have to consider. Next, don't abruptly start just like that. There's tissue connecting the face to the neck. Even if you're really thin, you still have that, so always consider it when drawing profiles. For the neck, you should start roughly around here, and that's our side profile. Now, sometimes I'm adventurous and want to try drawing new angles or extreme angles. So for those situations, I will use a box. You know, it's easy to bring a box to a 3D shape, so that helps me put the head into perspective easy. Let me show you how it's done. So we have our box, right? And this will be the top part of the skull. Then I'm filling in for the rest of the face, putting it to perspective as best as I can with the reference of the square I drew. This is a complicated technique. It's hard to grasp at first. It takes a lot of practice, so don't feel pressured to do it. I just wanted to get it out there, so the nose will be pointy and sticking out of the face. I'm not sure the lips will be visible, but I'm still gonna keep them there. Yeah, he kinda looks like an alien though. So yeah, I guess I didn't nail this one. Anyway, I think you get like the idea. Okay, so I want to deepen my talks about the neck. So I'm gonna just draw this random here, right here, with the technique I just showed you. And if I want to draw the neck in this angle, the best way to do it is to think of the neck as a cylinder and define the middle of the neck, and that middle of the neck aligns with the middle of the face. So when you see it that way, it's easier to visualize what it should look like in 3D. Always remember to keep your lines natural and organic. No neck is fully stiff or super straight. So here's the mirror I was talking to you about. I just wanted to make it visible. And there will be our cylinder in like perspective. Oh yeah, this is the Adam's apple. This is also something you have to consider when drawing males. It's noticeable from the front, the side, in a 3/4 view. Just remember to include it. I'll talk about that more later. Okay, so here's another example of a face drawn in perspective thanks to this technique. And I just did this to tell you that the ear moves with the skull. So if you're looking down, your ears are gonna be looking up. It's really important to keep in mind. The end of the ear tends to align with the eyebrows, and the start of the ear tends to align with the start of the nose. Well, it's not a rule, everybody's different, you know. So another tricky angle, I'm also gonna show you how I do it with a cube. Imagine if you're looking at someone from down below. I'm gonna use this part of the cube as my center, and then define the rest of the head as if I'm looking from the ground up. Yeah, it's really hard. I think even I can't master it properly. But again, it's good to have it out there. Okay, so another really important point I want you to know about is the eyes. Well, the eyes shouldn't be really foreign to anyone. We all have them, or most of us do anyways. But when drawing the eyes, especially from a profile, you want to remember they are concave, meaning they are a ball or a circle. So there's always gonna be like this variation. It's never gonna be straight line, you know. This is what it should look like from the side. And this is what it never should look like. That looks painful. So yeah, when drawing the eyes, just imagine how a ball will look. The eyes vary a lot by person. There are some people that have more protuberant eyes, some hooded eyes, but they're still gonna be concave and resemblant of a ball. So it's important to keep that in mind. Alright, so one final note that I was forgetting is the Adam's apple. As I mentioned before, I tend to imagine the neck as a cylinder. But after I'm done imagining it as a cylinder, I also think about all the arteries, muscles, and the Adam's apple. So, very quickly, this is what it will look like from the front. You know, all those lines, it's always important to define them to make your drawing look more alive, in my opinion. So yeah, that would be Sabo, just a little volume right there. And this will look like from a default view. It's just something very simple, a couple of lines to just let the viewer know it's there. And well, you already saw this, but again, from the side there's a little bump in the neck. Just give it a little bump, and that's all you need to keep your drawing anatomically correct and dynamic. I think adding the Sabo makes a drawing more dynamic. I don't know. I really like detail necks. Well, now that I explained the basics of how I draw the faces, I want to show you how to draw faces from reference. As you might know, my subject matter is usually male-presenting characters. Through all the time I've been drawing them, I've come to the conclusion there's things one must include in their facial composition to distinguish them as so. In anime, at least. So let's start with real faces. We'll use this site I discovered, which is Unsplash. It has all kinds of royalty-free photos we're gonna use for our exercise. And the one I selected is this one right here. I'll put a link to this image in the class notes for you to download it as well. So the reason I like this image is because this boy has a really enticing look, very interesting composition. It grabbed my eye almost immediately, so we're gonna grab that and download it and then open it in our Clip Studio. Okay, so first of all, I want to highlight the square jaw this boy has. Like that is the most noticeable thing. There's also a separation between the eyes, which is roughly one eye in his case. The width of the nose is also important to notice, and then the arc of the eyebrows. These are all elements that make him look, well, like himself, you know? So we have to take note of all these little details, and those are the details we'll salvage and then use in our final drawing. This is just to get acquainted with our subject. Okay, so I'll just grab this image and paste it onto my canvas and adjust it like so. Alright, so I'm gonna do pencil R and then a neutral color to start the sketch. I'm gonna enlarge the canvas a little because the reference image is taking a lot of my space. Okay, so I'll start with a basic shape, like define the amount of space I want my character to use in the canvas. Like, this is a very rough basic sketch, just to know like where to place things, you know, so it's not so wide and intimidating. Next, I move on to the face shape. The face shape is the first thing I draw when I'm drawing a character because I think it's a solid base for the face. Okay, so a little more. The nose will be around here, I think, and then we're gonna do an outline for the lips. The ears, his ears are very characteristical. The shape and the size are an important thing to notice. Next we move on to the eyes. The eyes are an important part of any drawing, and as such I take a lot of time drawing them, so I kinda always leave them for last because they're really important for me. So yeah, I'll redo them, I'll flip them a lot. You can see me struggling right here, right now. I think they're too close to the nose. Yeah, it's about here. That makes more sense. And then now we're gonna shape his eyebrows because you know, some loose lines just to give you some guidelines for where to put them, and then you can go fix them on the go. Like this one came a little funky, so I'm just gonna move it up here. Just gonna define the nose a little bit, and then the pupils, finishing the eye shape. Of course, it's not gonna be like this, just still in the process. But meanwhile, I'm gonna draw the hair. And as you might have noticed, my sketching process is actually kind of messy. But that's how my brain works. Okay, so his hair isn't really like, you can't really see it much in the photo, meaning you can really grasp his hairstyle that much, so I'm gonna take some freedoms with it. Just gonna refine the face shape so we get a clearer picture and to see if I'm liking what I'm drawing. Yeah, so far I see the resemblance, but it still needs some polishing, like major polishing. So we're gonna do just that. And with a thinner pencil is where I refine the eyes. I know it sounds cheesy, but I really do think eyes are the window of the soul to some extent, so that's why I pay really special attention to them. I think not drawing is really complete unless I'm satisfied with the eyes. That's why I barely even have drawn any characters with the eyes closed, like ever, I think. So yeah, we have to keep in mind that this boy has monoliths, so we want to include that detail in the drawing. It's very important to capture all those little details as to not erase his identity. Because sure, we want to stylize the face onto anime style, but we don't want to deprive them of their natural look, you know? I think representation is very important in anime. That's what I mean. Yeah, he has more of a smirk right here, so we're gonna fix his mouth. I don't really put a lot of detail in the mouth at all because I think the mouths are a little too 3D for my drawing style. So yeah, just a line and some indication of volume of the lower lip, that's what I usually go for. So he's looking more like himself, I think. We can start like focusing on details more now. So I'm just gonna finish his hair, his head shape, because I left that right kind of in the middle. And now what I'm gonna do is just gonna refine all the basic shapes I laid down in the drawing, like give him a little bit proportions, more details here in the ears. because I don't like to oversimplify things. I want every character or person I draw to be unique. And that's why I want to include all these details and little shadows here and there. I'll make the drawing as accurate as possible. One thing you might have noticed is that I flip the canvas upside down a lot, and that's because I think it helps my brain deal with the images better. Usually when I'm struggling with a line or I can't get a shape right, when I turn the canvas upside down, I get better results somehow. So maybe if you're like me, you could try that too. It might help you out like it did for me. Okay, so I'm gonna add some life into his eyes. My classic signature eyelashes. Refine his hairline more. So I'm gonna define the rest of his body now because I somehow made the face too detailed and it looks really weird with that scribble down there. So let's just draw a turtleneck real quick. And then when I'm done with like the base drawing, I like to add like some snazz to it. So maybe some crazy hair here and there to give it like more personality or a more playful look. Because this person looks very confident from the way he's staring at the camera, I would say so. So I want to transmit that same energy onto my drawing. So the important things we can summarize from this lesson is that the goal is to keep the essence of the face but adapting it to our own elements. We don't want to over-stylize or oversimplify a person because they're just simply not gonna be recognizable, but everything depends on your style. But yeah, pay close attention to the eyes, nose, lips, ears, face shape, and hair, and keep those in mind when drawing from real people. That's the most important thing. Next, I will talk to you about the very important topic of avoiding same face syndrome. See you then.